From the trails to the road to the track, if it's running, you'll find it right here on Trail Tales ARP. Run wild. Hey, everybody in podcast land. Sean Sobon here. Welcome to Trail Tales ARP. I've got a returning guest, ultra runner all the way from Melbourne, Australia, Ben Cordell. Ben, it's great to talk to you again and to see you again, man. How you been?
Yeah, I've been good, man. It's great to talk to you again too. I was unsure how long we would lapse before we had another session.
Yeah. Hey, as far as I'm concerned, it was a little bit too long, but we got you back on here now. And good day to you, mate. I guess I'd say. How is that? Good. Is that all right?
Yes, that's pretty good. I'm still I'm still not great with it. G'day, mate.
Good. Hey, that's better than mine. That's pretty good. So you got your coffee going now?
Yeah, I got my coffee. Definitely a must on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Well, really any morning, but Sunday morning such as this.
Yeah, that's it. That's the weird thing. We're so far apart in time zones. You're Sunday morning. I'm still Saturday, just getting into the evening now. So
yeah.
What's it like in the future?
Oh, it's good. It's actually a beautiful day. It rained all yesterday, but to be fair, I would love for it to be Saturday night again,
Yeah, I hear you.
It's a beautiful day. It looks like it's shaping up. We actually have our a baby shower today, so
awesome. So we didn't talk about that last podcast. So you are going to be a father very soon.
Yep.
Next month. So congratulations on that, man. Now this is baby number one.
Yeah, baby number one. Yeah. April 13th is the due date, even though they tell you to throw that out the window for the firstborn. Very excited, very nervous, pretty scared.
Have you been practicing changing diapers on like little stuffed animals or stuff like that?
No, not yet. I had a little bit of experience with my niece. I'm sorry, I guess my niece, but my nephew. Like, when I say a little, I mean like once or twice. But yeah, now it's more of a shoot from the hip kind of guy. So I'll just learn on the fly, really.
Yeah, it's funny. I think every single one of my kids has pooped on me. So just a heads up, man. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. Someone was mentioning that, and it's not a boy. So I was also told that boys tend to, when the cold air hits their weakest, yeah.
I discovered this funny thing called the PPTP, and it's exactly what you think. It's a little thing you put on top of there. Just stop.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh my gosh, It's so funny. So yeah, that's really awesome news, man, and congratulations. I'm excited for you, and you have to send me some pictures and stuff when she's born. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So let's talk about your running, man. So you're still running strong. I saw on Strava you had a big run recently, like a 46K run or something like that.
So last Monday I did a just over a marathon in a local park, Listerfield. Yep, just maintaining, not really junk miles. Like I was actually trying to contribute to my effort, but yeah, did about 46K then, and then of course the 2 bays we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, so last time you were on the show, the 2 bays race was not too far away, and now it's come and gone. So let's talk about that, man. Remind us the distance and what the race was all about before we get talking into the specifics of it.
So the 2 bays trail race it's from Port Phillip Bay. Well, sorry, from Cape Schanck to Port Phillip Bay and then back. It's on the southeast side of Melbourne in Victoria, and they have two races. You have the 56K, which is an out and back, and you have your 28K, which starts in Germana or Phillip Bay and comes to Cape Schanck. Myself, I did the 56K. It went pretty well. It's basically only about 1,200-ish meters gain, and it's fairly flat, running from bay to bay. Beautiful, very scenic. There's a little bit of flat that's kind of repetitive and not terribly pretty on the eyes. I mean, it's all great, don't get me wrong, but but then you get to the mountain where they have Arthur's Seat, I have a feeling any Commonwealth country has an Arthur seat somewhere. And then yeah, come down to Germana and go back. Beautiful, beautiful sights on the mountain. Beautiful sights at Cape Schanck. Yeah, and I think my goal was I set out to try to run sub 6 hours, and I ended up running sub 5.5. So I was
Wow, you
barely
destroyed
out.
your goal.
Yeah.
That's very good, man.
Yep. And I didn't place. I didn't get top. When I say place, I mean top 10. I didn't place, but I was pretty close. My buddy, I think he got top. I think he was 11th. So
That's pretty
but
good.
yeah,
Yeah. I always say, man, like just completing an ultra is a huge accomplishment. So when you get into that upper echelon, man, that's just like, that's insane, man. So,
yeah.
you know, it's always a nice secondary goal to have, I guess, to see if you can do that. But I mean, beating your time goal by that much that's a huge accomplishment. Now, when you were running the race, did you know like you were well ahead of where you wanted to be, or was this just like a surprise kind of when you got near the end there?
Yeah, whenever we got to the turnaround point, I was probably moving a bit too quick,
Okay.
which only meant that I would probably suffer, and I did actually end up suffering after we kind of ascended the mountain again and then descended. Basically, after we climbed the mountain again, there was a pretty long, kind of just barely inclined dirt road that I just kind of burned out on, but ended up catching a second wind. So yeah, we got to the halfway point. I was going a bit faster as people typically do. I'm still victim to the running too fast in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then I ended up just kind of trying to recalculate and reassess how fast I was going in the second half, and I kind of slowed it down a bit, but not too much to suffer my time, and end up still smashing it. Actually, on the way to the turnaround, there was a rusty fence, and
Oh,
it was
no.
kind of like they kind of corral you through. You go from like a road to into a trail, and I guess they have these for animals or whatever, or to keep bikes or vehicles to get in the trail, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like a corral, and it was a rusty fence, and there was a piece of the fence kind of, or a piece of the metal sticking up, sharp edge, and I just went to go turn around the corral, and it just rubbed right along my arm, and I thought at first, I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna be bleeding out. Like, it was right across my wrist, and it was fairly deep, and I still have the scar, but like I have blood dripping down my hand for it eventually dried, but like every time I run out to swim, oh my god, are you okay? And I'm like, no, yeah, it's fine, it stopped bleeding, it's just dry now, but like blood all down my hand. It was pretty gory.
Oh my gosh. Did you get any pictures of that?
I don't think I did. But maybe you can kind of see the scar there.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can
I
see
can
it.
see it.
It was
Yeah.
just straight across. And as
Yeah.
soon as I did it, it was like instantly, like I couldn't stop it. Like just had to let it go. That's how quick it happened. But
Yeah. What a bummer.
Yeah, casualties of war, I guess. Or
I know, right? You know, it literally like blood, sweat, and tears goes into these runs, eh?
yeah, definitely. At least I didn't, face plant or anything like that going down the hill, which is not terribly fun to do. It's definitely fun to watch.
Yes, that's for
With
sure.
someone, as long as they're okay, of course, because
Yeah.
your first thing you say is, "Oh my god, are you all right?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'm fine." You're like, "Oh, great," because you just smashed your face. It was great. Yeah,
That's so true, man.
yeah.
I don't know if this happened after I talked to you last. I was out with Piper. I think probably after I talked to you, but I was out with Piper at Boyne Valley Provincial Park, not too far from me, and we were going out for a trail run. And I use this in the winter time, anyways. It's called this Max Wax. It's like a Vaseline stuff you put on their paws just to protect them from whatever, right? And any
Yep.
salt and stuff. Not that there's really salt here, but anyways, I forgot to put it on her, so I stopped her and to go back to the car, and I stopped her on the ice. Next thing I know, man, both my feet are up in the air. I just crashed hard, and I was laughing so hard at myself because I fell. I was like, why didn't anybody get that on camera? Nobody was around, eh? So I kind of got off and I just like, hey, we're good, let's keep running. But I was laughing for a good 5 minutes after that, because even when I fall myself, I just can't help it, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Something about seeing that or being part of it, you know.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
it's fun. It's funny. Yeah, you almost wish somebody would have caught on a camera, but at the same time, you get up, you look around, you're like, I hope nobody saw that.
Exactly.
Yeah, oh,
Oh,
it's funny.
good. Yeah. So, all
But
right.
yeah,
So, yeah. So you got this cut on your wrist. You know, the fence tried to murder you, and obviously it didn't. It didn't succeed in that. But and they said that was about the halfway point in the race.
no, that was like 7K in. So
Oh
I
my
had,
gosh, that's like right at the beginning.
I was worried. I was, of course, my initial, all the stuff running through my brain. I'm like, oh, I gotta get tetanus
Yeah.
now, and am I gonna bleed out? And then, oh man, I'm gonna be taken out of a race 8K in for a cut on the wrist, like,
Yeah.
But no, I just ended up running. The salt kind of felt not great, but I guess kind of healed the wound, and just kept pushing through. Eventually, I forgot about it. It
Yeah.
didn't feel great at first, but you forget about it once you get the pain in the quads and everything. So
Yeah. Exactly. So, the race now is it all trail or is it like a mixture of terrain?
it started off at Cape Shank, so you're running along, not like on the edge, but you're basically right on the water, and it's
Okay.
massive cliff face. You could see the ocean kind of mangling the rocks and everything,
Oh
and then you
wow.
cut up in, kind of run a little bit of farmland, kind of up and down, still within the realm of the beach, but as you get 2 or 3K in, the beach is just gone. And then it's fairly flat, all trail. There's just before the hill, Arthur Seat Hill. It's probably like a K and a half or two, maybe three, something like that, of a downhill, gravel path.
Okay.
Sorry, gravel road, like somebody's driveway in the farm. And then that's pretty much. Oh yeah, and then from the mountain down to Germana, it's all road. Yeah, that was kind of brutal. So that was probably about 2.5K downhill of road, and then 2.5K uphill of road.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when you're talking 7 or 8K of road and the rest trail, that's not much really at all to worry about.
No, not really. So, I mean, that answers my next question anyway. So, you obviously are running in trail shoes. There's no point in
Yeah,
not, right?
definitely. Yeah, definitely running trail shoes. I don't really, if there's going to be, even if half of it will be trail, I typically, just for the aggressive tread and kind of the toe protection, I'll always run trail runners. Yeah, I don't my road shoes, I really only do it on kind of the local runs around here, my junk miles, if you will.
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree with you. I think it doesn't make much sense to take your road shoes if you're going to go on the trail, even if it's a decent amount on the road, because your trail shoes are going to perform better on the road than your road shoes will perform on a trail for sure. So
Yeah, by
like
far.
yeah, like even today I was out with Piper and she stopped to do her business, so I had to go to the garbage can and drop off her deposit there, and we got like a major snow melt now, but I just stepped on the grass, had my road shoes on, and almost wiped out, but I didn't. I kind of did like a little I don't know, little jig dance there, but I stayed on my feet. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if my trail shoes would have helped me there at all or not, but either way. So
Yes. I did injure myself one time with well, not I mean, it was just kind of a niggle, if you will, but wearing trail shoes on a road race. It was actually in Deep Creek, Maryland. There was like we were snowboarding at a local hill, if you will.
okay.
And there was a 5 miler race on the road that I thought I'd sign up for last minute. And I think the temperature was like -15 C, which is nothing to you up there. But
Yeah.
and I ended up the only thing I had brought were my trail running, my Solomons, and they were really hard sole. And I ended up running really fast this 5 miler, and I had to wear. I don't remember exactly the pain that day, but I remember the day after my ITB. Is it ITB? ITB
Yep.
was really. I don't know if like my kneecap was kind of rubbing the wrong way, or if I'd put way too much hard impact on my left knee. But for a year, I had to wear a strap around my knee, and that was the only way to relieve the pain so I could run. And then at some point I just took it off and the pain was gone. But like for a year I could not run without some kind of strap just around above my knee, you know,
No kidding.
because my what are they? I don't know the medical term, but patella, is
The
that
patella's a
what is it?
kneecap. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. The patella. I was like, is that stuff that you put on the bread? That's
The
Nutella.
hazelnuts. Yeah.
Yeah. No, the patella was like rubbing wrong. So whenever I put the strap on, it like kind of corrected it. I don't know how, but it worked.
Oh,
Kept
wow.
running, and then after a year, I took it off, and it was fine. So,
Yeah.
and that was from kind of getting sidetracked. That was for wearing trail shoes on only a road race.
Yeah.
So I'm very, yeah, I would never wear even if it's like icy. And some people like when it's icy with road shoes, they'll put spikes in their shoes. No,
Yeah.
just either take it easy or don't run. Like no sense in trying to hurt yourself.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting those spikes. So I bought a set of spikes last winter, and they're the ones you got to screw in to the sole of the shoe. And I haven't had the heart to do it to my new shoes. So I just got new trail shoes before the winter started. So I haven't used them yet, but I ended up buying these pair, just like a strap you put on, you strap them onto your shoe. And anyways, I tried them out for a run last weekend. We ended up doing, I think, just like a 20K trail run. It was really neat because I was out exploring this new trail I hadn't been on before. And so I used them, and they were cheap, like dollar store stuff. Like I paid $4 for them. So they were one run and done. Like all the strap was ripped off and stuff. And there was one part, it was so icy on this small decline on the single track. Like they actually did dig in and help me, but I ended up just sliding down on my butt because it was like, it was still too much work. I'm like, I gotta get hurt here. So we just slid. My buddy Victor was with me, and we just he went first. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. So we just slid down and finished it off that way. I hit a tree on the way down, but it was feet first, so I was okay. But yeah, I don't know. Like I haven't tried those other ones, but I know in the past, like we've gone on some winter trail runs, and I didn't have any spikes on, and he did, and I wiped out about 6 times, and he didn't. So I think they help, but yeah, like you said, you just kind of take it easy, and for the most part, I don't end up falling that bad. So
Yeah,
it's just some of those greasy areas. But yeah, man. So, but you don't have to deal with any of that where you are now.
No.
Yeah.
I think since I've been here, I've seen snow aside from, because you can go to the Alpines and snowboard in Australia, believe it or not.
You know what? I've heard that. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, there's at least 3 or 4 resorts that I know of, but apparently there's more scattered up in the Alpines. And I've been on runs here where you've gone, I don't know, about 500 meters above sea level, and it'll start to snow. Like we went to the Cathedral Ranges, which is northeast of here, and we had a pretty gnarly day. I mean, we again above 500 meters, and it goes from about 300 to 900 meters, right?
Yep.
So anywhere above 500 meters, it would snow because it got cold enough. But as soon as you drop below there was a definite like a thermo level or whatever they call that. You could definitely feel the difference in temperature. But the Cathedral Ranges are really known for their kind of gnarly rock formations, just kind of in the middle of nowhere. So literally they look like cathedrals. And and my buddy was like, before this run, he was like, oh yeah, the first 2 or 3K are pretty technical. Yeah, they're pretty technical, but after that it's technical, but it's not like the first 2K. But like, it'll be slow going, and if we're lucky, we'll see snow because it's supposed to snow. And the first 2K of this run, technical is not the word I would use. Technical is you're really kind of playing Tetris with your feet on a downhill, trying to figure out where you're going to put your feet next. You're not really using your hands. This was probably like low level rock climbing. Like we could have possibly used rope. You know what I mean? That's and at one point we're going through a cave, and I've got to take off my pack, and I've got to turn sideways and hold my pack out because it's a bit too narrow, and like you could see through the cave, so it wasn't a problem. But I'm like, this isn't technical, mate. This is hiking rock climbing.
Yeah, you're no longer running anymore.
Yeah, and I have photos of that. I'll flick them to you. It's actually
Please
pretty funny. Like at one point, I'm going through the cave, and I just, you know, having a good time, but it's snowing outside, it's cold, and I'm just laughing. My buddy's like, "What's funny?" I'm like, "You said technical," and I'm just losing my crap, you know, just yeah. But
Oh my gosh.
it was a good day though, and that was Cathedral Ranges. So, and
Yeah.
that was one of 3 times that I've run in snow here.
That's pretty cool, man. I never would have even thought that was possible in Australia. So, how do you dress for a run like that? Do you bring some extra layers with you, or do you just kind of go and warm up and you're okay with the short and shirts or
Well,
shirt and shorts?
yeah. What's funny is in America or North America even, you'd prepare for that. And I don't know if since I've been here, I have thinner blood or what. In America, no problem. Dress. I wear my Under Armour cold gear, maybe some waterproof gloves, maybe like a thermal jacket or you know probably just Under Armour cold gear as
Sure.
well. Here, wear the same stuff, and I don't know. I can't handle it. I can't like that race nearly broke me because my hands my gloves weren't necessarily waterproof, so my hands are cold, but my body was you know perfectly fine. And towards the end of it, if my hands get cold, like throw everything out the window. I could be like a you know polar bear everywhere else, but if my hands are at all like not frostbitten, but if they get you know a bit too cold or wet,
Yeah.
I suffer. I suffer very very dramatically. Um,
No kidding,
so
eh?
so running here in the cold, I don't know. Maybe it's because it's so rare for you to run in temperatures that cold that you don't necessarily want to buy the best of the best gear. So,
Yeah,
but I
because it's
have all
like
my gear. I have all my gear that I had in North America here. So I just don't. I think I'm just softening, I guess, since I've been here. You know.
you do make a valid point though, because I was just talking about this the other day, and we had like a beautiful, gorgeous couple days last week. It was like 15 Celsius. We went up to 18 Celsius one day, and for me, that was like, oh, like to feel the warmth in the air again and in the breeze. And I was like, this is dangerous though, because it's going to get cold again, and you can adjust so easily and almost instantly to the warm weather to get out and run. But then to adjust to the colder climate and to the cold wind and the weather and stuff, man, that takes some time. I need a couple weeks to get used to running in the cold again. I think the biggest mistake is I saw this poor guy walking his dog this morning, and it was like, it's sunny outside now, but it was, -2 this morning. So not terribly cold, but the wind made it feel colder, but it looks nice because it's sunny. So what do? We don't dress appropriately because, oh, it's sunny, I'm just gonna wear a sweater. So that's what this guy did. He just wore a sweater and he's freezing because I can see him. He's all hunched up. He's got his hood on and his dog's walking and he looks miserable. I'm like, see, he fell victim to the sun, right? He's like, oh, it's sunny outside and we had those nice days. And like, no, man, you got to stay in winter mode still. don't
Yeah.
uh, don't lose your wits just yet, because here where we are, we're gonna get another blast of winter. I just know it, even though everything's melting now. But yeah, you just got to keep that mentality. Like, no, it's so cold. Because I went out for a run today and I still wore 2 layers on my legs and 3 on up top, and because it was so windy, it helped. Because I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't want to be cold. I hate being cold like that. But I can run in -25 Celsius or worse, and as long as I'm dressed appropriately, it's fine. Like, you don't really feel it. But yeah, man, you're right. Like, if you're used to, especially now, like in your summertime, I know you're getting near the fall now, but it's really warm there. You go into a cold environment, it's gonna be hard to get used to that for sure.
Yeah. Especially like our our climate here in the winter is maybe 10, 12, 13 on average in the winter during the day, and then
Yeah.
it can drop to 0 at night. But down here in I guess what you would call a valley, although it's probably just a plain. It probably doesn't. If it gets to 0, it won't hover there long, and it definitely won't be nights in a row, and it'll always get back up above 7, 8, 9 during the day. I don't
Yeah.
think I've ever seen a 1 p.m. Temperature any day ever below 5 here ever.
Yeah.
Which is still cold if you're used to 40-degree days in the summer, but yeah, no. And I hear At least I've seen memes like, oh, Canada, this is only second winter. Like, wait for third and fourth winter.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
and then fall, spring, and then like third winter. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. When I moved up to Shelburne from Mississauga, or it's only about like an hour and 20 minutes north of the city, but I look on the forecast and we're always about 2 to 3 degrees Celsius cooler where I am, because they call us like the top hat of Ontario. We're at like the highest elevation above sea level here. So we're in a snow belt. We get all this stuff. And, I learned a new phrase when I moved up here. It was April showers bring snow plowers.
That's good.
It's so true, man. I have a picture up on my Instagram account from last May. I think it was May 14th or 15th, and we were having a blizzard. I was out walking Piper when she was a puppy. I'm like, oh, nice spring walk here with my dog. And it was like just sideways snow right across, man. But yeah, so we're not out of the woods yet, but warmer days are just ahead.
Yeah, but you guys, like, in terms of driving in this weather, you guys could drive through it with like a little Mazda Miata, no problem. If you give, a Texan, like a snowcat with the best lift ever, and they get a dusting, they don't know how to drive. So, I mean, it's all, you know what I mean? You guys are definitely much more used to that kind of weather, whereas, Americans are not. At least
Yeah,
not the southern Americans.
not the southern ones. Yeah, the
Yeah.
northern states are pretty much honorary Canadians. Like even like Wisconsin, Minneapolis, all that stuff.
Buffalo.
Minnesota. Buffalo. Oh yeah, Buffalo's pretty much. We
Yeah.
should just absorb them into the country in Canada here.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's just, I guess, what you grew up with. Speaking of winter though, man, I'm really gonna miss this season. I had a great time with like running outside with my dog. Like we did this Iron Paws stage race competition, which started on New Year's Eve, and it was 8 weeks of just kind of running and accumulating miles, and it was fun. Everything was virtual, but I had such a great time running with her, and like I can access all the snowmobile trails from my backyard. So I go up my front door, there's a catwalk 2 doors down, and I'm into the trail system. I can go run out there for 20-30 kilometers on the trails, and it's just amazing, man. And she does so well in the wintertime. Like I'm almost not looking forward to the warmer weather because she's going to get hot. I'm going to have to start carrying more water with me. And that's kind of, kind of a pain. But I mean, we'll transition and we'll get used to it. But I'm definitely going to miss winter. And I can't believe I'm saying that because I love the summertime.
Yeah. Is these trails, this circuit of trails that you have there, do they have water, like river running water, better yet? Not lake.
Yeah. There's the Boyne River, and that kind of runs. There's actually like a small vein of it that runs in my backyard. And when the snow was melting the other day, it was actually quite flooded, but it's all recessed now. But yeah, so we've got running water all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be good. Like whenever you take, I assume it's a girl dog.
Yeah.
Whenever you take her on a run, if just as long as you have bodies of water near that, not stagnant water.
Yeah,
that's what I used to always do with my Malamutes. I think I had like a rule of thumb, like if it gets above like 15 degrees or something, maybe that's a bit too warm. I would, like, between 5 and 15, I would make sure there was water around. Like you can't just, that way they can go get water whenever they want and they're not overheating. But yeah, you'll find yourself, obviously, like a 35-degree day is probably out of the question, but anything below 20 is manageable with water, and obviously not running them as fast as you can, kind of thing.
Yeah. No, that's very good advice.
Yeah. And I had a Alaskan Malamute in this. It's hard to run with them here, but I had Alaskan Malamute in the States, so I don't know. I never killed them, so and then I have 2 Alaskan Malamutes now, which I should be able to run with in like the dead of winter, maybe like 8 o'clock at night when it's dark. Yeah. But during the day, it's almost out of the question here because it just gets a bit too hot.
Oh yeah, exactly. And yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking ahead to in the next few months when it starts to get warm, like especially in the middle of summer here. Our runs will either be in the evening when the sun's down or early morning before it gets too hot, and they're not going to be as long as they normally were in the winter. But yeah, Piper, she's a mix, but she's got some husky in her and a yellow lab and I think some German Shepherd. And then we got her a sister not too long ago. She's only about 10 weeks now. And her dad's a
really?
her dad's a Siberian Husky, mom's an American Bulldog. So it's an interesting mix. She's really, really unique. She's sleeping now, but she's brindle. And yeah, they're bonding pretty good right now. So I can't wait till she's ready to start running with me. I'll get two dogs pulling me. It's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah. 10-week-old puppy, eh?
Yeah. Oh man, it's so much work. It's like it's almost like having a newborn again, man. The first night I was up every 2 hours with her, and you know, yeah, you can't leave her out of your sight for too long.
No, yeah, and you got to try to make sure if you're potty training them, or at least outdoors, and you're not doing one of those pads, you've got to let them out every 3 or 4 hours or something like that.
That's just it. So she came to us trained with a pad, but obviously we don't want to keep that up. So there's been accidents, but yeah, I have my watch, my timer. It's every 15 minutes, man. I tried 25 minutes. That wasn't long. I wasn't short enough. She had an accident, so I went down to 20 minutes. Still wasn't good. So 15 minutes seems to be the magic number. And I bring Piper out with her, and it's really neat because she watches Piper, and Piper knows what she's doing. So she just kind of watches her. It's like, oh, okay. And I get better results when I bring her out with the other dogs. So.
Yeah, and they'll play with each other. So there's those evenings when you come home and you're like, man, I really just can't be bothered. Doing anything. They'll kind of wrestle, because if you just have a puppy on their own, they're gonna want to bite you and play with you, and but if you have two dogs, that's what I've found like a blessing, is when we come home tired from work some days, they'll just play with each other and get their energy out. So it's like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, it's absolutely a must. I remember we've actually got 4 now. I've got my 2 old ladies. They'll be 11 this year. And, they don't want too much to do with the younger dogs, but they get along okay. But when we start off with just 1 dog and we made the jump to 2, I was really nervous because oh man, that's like twice the work. But then just like you said, it turned out that they entertained themselves and they were pretty self-sufficient. I was like, this is awesome, so. Yeah, it's good to have a friend for them for sure. So that's what we wanted for Piper, right? Because she's 13 months or 14 months now, and I was like, okay, we got to get her a dog closer to her age. I can keep up with her and stuff, and I love it because it gives me a great reason to get out there and get my miles in and run, right? So, and my wife's happy. She's like, yeah, go get those dogs tired. I'm like, perfect. I can go for a nice run now. So. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. So listen, Ben, let me ask you. What do you have planned now? Because you've got the little one on the way. Do you have any last minute races before the big day, or what are your future plans here?
Yeah. So the future plans for when the baby comes will be just try to get into a routine that will, obviously the baby comes first, but if we can get into a routine where should I say, can still kind of get out and exercise. And then I guess me particularly, if I can do 5K here and there, averaging 20K a week, I'll be happy. Obviously the first 2 or 3 weeks, probably not going to be much running at all. And yes, I had a race yesterday, which was only a half marathon trail. It's called Sharpie's Beer Run.
Nice.
And then we have my last one before the baby comes my last organized race is next Saturday, called Duncan's Run, and it's a 50K. They have a 100K on that series, but my buddy didn't want to run the 100K there, which is fine. I mean, I could have run it, but we usually carpool.
Yeah.
So instead of me having him hang around for 5 hours while I keep running, I was like, I'll just do a 50 with you.
Just a 50, no big deal. You say it so nonchalantly.
Well, I don't know if I said this last time. I hope I didn't. Ever since the first half marathon I ran in Baltimore, the Baltimore Running Festival, I had a serious fear of missing out whenever I saw all the marathoners coming in, and I had just run the half marathon. So I had always had kind of like a internal rule that if I'm going to run a race and there's, a marathon, 50K, 100K, I was always going to run the biggest distance, just so that I didn't have that fear. Because I don't know, whenever you're running it, you're like, oh yeah, I just did a marathon, and then you're looking at the 50K, it's like, oh, but they just did an extra 8K probably could have done that. You just feel bad. You feel like you're missing out. You feel like you could have done more. So I always had this kind of internal thing saying, never do the lesser of the distances, always do the most. And that's worked up until now.
Yeah. I totally get that, man. It's like, you know, it's funny because so I have a small group of friends and we're doing this kind of like healthy living challenge for 12 weeks. I think we're 5 weeks into it now. So every week I put out like a, you know, a physical challenge for everybody. So this week was, you know, I did this whole like wrestling promo, like pretending I was Hulk Hogan. I was like, hey, we're all going to be doing push-ups and sit-ups this week and you go into failure. And whoever gets the most gets some bonus points because we all put in money and then the winner's going to take the pot and donate it to charity of their choice. Right. So I was like, all right, push-up time. So I ended up, you know, doing my push-ups. And when I felt I was done, it's almost like you said, like, no, I got to do at least one more. And I did that one. Okay, one more. So I ended up doing, I think, 4 push-ups beyond what I thought I was going to do. And what was, you know, sorry, my dog's going to be barking here, but yeah, so I did that, but it's like, yeah, you just got to do that. So it's just like the run, right? Like you said, you're happy, you accomplished, you know, running a half marathon or a marathon, but like, oh man, I could have done more probably. Right. And
Yeah.
it's like, now I got to start all over again to get to that point. So I totally get it.
Well, that's effectively the baseline on how you improve everything. You know, you just do a little more. Oh, I'm going to do a 5-mile run. Okay, well, tomorrow or next week, I'm going to do 5 miles and maybe I'll run an extra 200 meters or maybe I'll run another mile. You just keep doing that, keep challenging yourself. And then you get to 100 miles and you're like, I think I'm done. That's it. Well, with like you said, with push-ups, you do 30 push-ups and you get there and you're like, I got a bit more in me, so you get 35 and then you're done. Then you come tomorrow and now your body can kind of handle 35, assuming you've given your time off of rest. You do 35 and you're like, oh, maybe I can do 40. That's how people improve.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of where I was going with you know, running the bigger distances. I want the challenge and I don't want to go home thinking, oh, there could have been more. I could have been more. Like I ran a half marathon yesterday, the Sharpies beer run, like I was just saying. And I was holding top 10, like I was, I think 7th or 8th the whole race. And if you look on Strava, you can see there's an extra loop that I did. I took a wrong turn. That wrong turn cost me one like eighth position, 10 spots actually. So 10 people passed me when I did that extra 800 meters. I'm still not over it, obviously.
But you know what though? You finish in first place for the 21.9.
Yeah.
Nobody else ran that.
It was actually 20 a half marathon ish. So it was actually 22 and some change, but I ended up finishing 23K and like 18th place. But yeah, still a good number, but I could have been top 10. Good number.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You know, you got to just look at the silver lining. You're the first place finisher of the distance you ran though. Nobody else ran that.
That's very true. That's a great way to look at it. Yeah.
You know, just get your little black magic marker and write that on the medal and first place, whatever, 22.8.
Yeah. It didn't help that it's called a beer run. So my buddy and I always drink the two allotted because the bar opens, if you will, a half hour before the race. So my buddy and I actually drink our 2 IPAs before the race. So if you take one of the guys on the race was like, oh man, I shouldn't have had that, because they have a beer tent like halfway, and you can get free beer there. Like you don't actually give your tickets for that. It's just, you know, beer for anyone who wants to have a beer during a run. And this makes Australians sound like alcoholics. And this one guy coming up the hill, he got a beer and he's like, oh man, I definitely should have waited till the end. And I was thinking to myself, like, man, I already had my 2 beers in the beginning. Like, keep up, brother, keep up.
If you don't want it, I'll take it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, but yeah. And then
stuff,
probably,
man.
Yeah, it was a good run. It's our 2nd year in a row doing that run. So I think that'll stay on the schedule to keep running that every year. It's pretty fun.
That's awesome, man. So yeah, going back to kind of your future running and trying to do that, you know, it's a 20K a week or whatever. I think that's going to be totally doable for you. You know, with my little ones, they're 7 and 5 now. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing since they've been kind of were born. And you know, I'm actually having a really good running year this year, and I really got to thank having my dogs for that, because like I said, it gets me out of the house more often.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's totally doable. And you know, like I said, I'll ship you down my jogging stroller. This will be the last season I use it for my 5-year-old, and she'll grow out of it, and she'll be coming with her bike on me when I run. But man, I'm just so excited for you for the future and stuff. And you know, doing the jogging stroller and having your daughter there with you. And you know, for her, and the way it is for my kids now, it's a normal part of life. Like last week, my son came running with me, and I have another buddy who's gotten into running, and our sons are the same age. So they came with us and they ran 2 kilometers with us, and they loved it. And Sawyer actually asked me if he could go running today with me.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm going to get him on the treadmill after we're done, and let him run on the treadmill for a bit. And I don't know if you've got one now, but that's another good tool to have if you can't get out of the house because you're helping with daddy duty or whatever, right? So
Yeah.
you just, okay, jump out into the garage for 20-30 minutes and get a nice run in, and you go from
Yeah, that's
there,
a
right?
good idea.
Yeah, you just got to work around your circumstances, right? Because everything kind of changes and stuff, and you'll be fine,
Yeah.
man. You'll be absolutely fine. It's going to be exciting times ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
man.
good. Yeah, I'll definitely. I didn't even think to get a treadmill. I was like, oh man, am I really gonna be able to get away for a cup? But that's a great idea, actually. Get a
Yeah, yeah.
treadmill. Just if I can, if within a minute, just hop off and go do what I got to do. You know.
Exactly, man. Like even often now, like if my wife's at work and I'm home with the kids, and I know like during the day I'm not gonna have time to do anything, so I get them to bed, and then you know, instead of me going to bed because I'm tired, I'm like, okay, I'll just go out in the garage and go on the treadmill now, right? So I get a lot of my runs in that way too. Is you know, once everybody's kind of sleeping, and I keep the garage door open, like into the house, so if I do hear anything, I can just, you know, like you said, hit stop and just jump in and go take care of it. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, man. Yeah, you'll find ways. You'll find ways, and you'll get creative, and everything will be fine, man. So listen, Ben, before we close this up, dude, I want to do some rapid fire questions. Something I've been doing with my guests, and I stole the idea from a good friend of mine, Norm and Jody. They've got a running podcast. I Gotta Run Racing. They're actually race directors here in Orangeville, just south of me, and they do this rapid fire thing. So I'm gonna give them credit because I've been kind of doing that with my guests too, and they actually have, I might, if they are able to hold their races in person this year, I might be doing a 50K at Chase the Coyote. And then
Oh yeah.
they've got this new run. It's in Alliston. It's called the Rainbow Trail Run. And I think they want to make it 100K. I don't know if it's 100 mile or 100K, but it's going to be kind of like he called like a washing machine where you go around in a loop. And then when you do one lap, you go back the other way and you just keep doing that. It's got like camping facilities there and everything. So that'll be neat too. But listen, okay, so here we go. What shoes are you running in right now?
Nike Pegasus 35. Well, there's a whole list, but Nike Pegasus 35 is my go-to right now.
Okay, and what color are they?
They are gray with a little yellow trim.
Nice. What is your favorite post-run indulgence?
Probably a beer or McDonald's French fries.
Oh, McDonald's French fries. Nice, man.
Yeah.
With the salt and everything. Oh, that's good stuff. That's the first. You're the first one to say McDonald's French fries, but beer's a pretty common one. And okay, since we're talking beer, what's your favorite beer?
Victoria Bitter, which they call VB here, but that's only because I'm here now. It changes if I come back to the States.
There you go, eh? And obviously I'm gonna know this answer, but it's one I ask. Your favorite terrain to run on: road, trail, or track?
Definitely trail.
Yeah, that's not a surprise, eh? And
yeah.
And last one, and I already know it. Favorite hockey team?
Washington Capitals.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's good stuff, dude. So listen, I really appreciate talking to you again, and all the best with your daughter on the way. You know, it's going to be pretty exciting times ahead, and life will change a bit, but running's still going to be a part of it, and that's awesome, Ben. So listen, one last thing to say, my friend, and that is to run wild.
Run wild.
We'll talk to you again.
Yeah. Cheers, buddy. Take care.